like that. It'll take me to get where you need to be.
Maybe.
Nah, it's okay. Tangled. Tangled. The cords.
I'm trying to turn to work and look at you while I tell you this story.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my lord. A friend of mine sent me this for my birthday.
How fun is that color?
My first Stanley.
I love it. They're good.
They are good. I mean, I filled it up last night, and this morning it was still very cold.
Mm-hmm.
Can you reach that?
Yeah, sure can. There you go.
That's better. Am I new? Yes.
To the world.
Are we ready to actually start?
I think so.
Oh my god. Hi, Kara.
Hey, Megan.
This is the Witches.
You're telling me. Who were we?
Guys, we've been recording for like 3.5 minutes.
But in case you didn't know,
This is the Witches Magic Murder Mystery Podcast.
I'm Kara.
I'm Megan. It is a day.
A day
We are having
of November.
Whew. Today's my dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah. He kind of lost his birthday when I was born, you know?
Yeah. That's what you do when you have kids.
Yeah.
You lose everything.
You do. You give it all up.
But we love them.
So, yeah, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah.
And I turned 44 this week. I got so many nice birthday messages from you guys. We just recorded a little video unboxing, sort of. We say unboxing even though there's no boxes involved, but opening up some
packages
that we got from you guys. So thank you so much for that. We'll post it on Instagram.
You all are the sweetest.
You really, we all.
It's just so cute how someone will come across something and are like, their first thought is, oh my gosh, Kara and Megan would love this.
Yeah. Or even
like,
if you'll just have something happen to you and you're like, I need to tell Kara and Megan.
Yeah.
I just think that's the nicest thing in the world. Yeah.
What great souls.
Yeah. I love you all a lot. Do we have anything else to tell you guys? I did want to tell you about
oh my gosh.
There's some new merch in the shop.
This shirt is perfect.
It's a sweatshirt. I'm wearing it, so not that you can see it or anything, but it is going to be in the shop. It's embroidered and it says "In Witches We Trust," and I love it.
So good.
It makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And there's also a new sticker sheet that has the Founding Daddy sticker on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And a few other stickers. You know, the sticker sheets always have 6 stickers.
Yeah.
And I just love those sticker sheets. They're one of my favorite things that we have.
I know.
I always order one of them for myself whenever we do them.
Yep.
So then I cover my laptop with them. So, okay. Well, if you're ready, I have a story for you.
Let's do it.
I don't even know what to classify it as, and you'll understand that as I get going.
Okay.
It's just a story.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's a wild one.
Ooh.
38-year-old Jonathan Luna.
Okay.
Was an assistant United States attorney living in Baltimore, Maryland, when he was found dead in rural Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Jonathan had been stabbed 36 times.
Oh my gosh.
With his own pocket knife.
Oh.
Before drowning in a creek next to his car.
Oh my gosh.
So his death is clearly a suicide.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Don't you see that? That's what I think when I hear 36 stab wounds.
Was the samurai. And
it's
that's
just like
how they die.
Okay.
By their own sword.
So let's talk about who Mr. Luna was.
Okay, please.
Okay. He was born in October of 1965. I just made that shake for some. Seems okay.
I think it's fine.
He was born in October of 1965 to a black mother and a Filipino father.
Okay.
He grew up in the Patterson Housing Project in the South Bronx in New York City. In high school, he often showed up for class in suits and ties.
Stop. How cute.
He was 6 foot tall with curly hair and the body of a runner, so he was real
body
cute.
of a goddess.
He was handsome. He loved clothes. His friends called him a fashionista.
Oh, well, how fun.
Yeah, I mean, just think about
the best personality. Yeah.
He's real cute and he's wearing suits and ties.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, what are you doing?
After graduating high school, he went on to get his undergrad degree in history from Fordham University. From there, he went to the University of North Carolina School of Law.
Oh, wow.
Busy. Yeah, and he just had a real push to, like, make something of himself.
Yeah.
He worked at a law firm in Washington, D.C., and then the Federal Trade Commission.
Oh, wow.
Then he went back to New York City to work as a prosecutor before finally moving to Baltimore to become an assistant United States attorney.
Wow.
He beat out thousands of applicants for that job.
That's wild.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Of applicants. I can't imagine. He got married in 1993. It had to have been the suits. He got married in 1993 to an obstetrician, Dr. Angela Hopkins.
Gosh, busy people.
And they had 2 children.
Oh.
They said that he was just like really proud of his wife,
Oh,
you know, because she'd accomplished a lot of things on her own, and he was just really proud of her, which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah, they had their own lives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to December 3rd, 2003.
Okay.
They have done a really thorough investigation into this, so they're able to piece together a pretty good timeline of Jonathan's movements on the night that he died.
Okay.
It had been a pretty routine day in court. He was wrapping up a drug case, and a reporter, Gail Gibson, had been covering the case, and he told her not to be late the next morning. She said he told her, "You'll want to be here on time because we're going to wrap this thing up tomorrow."
Okay.
He went home that night, but then went back to his office to finish up a plea agreement that would be presented to the judge the following morning. So, already, he's making all these moves that seem odd.
Yeah.
If he was planning to take his own life,
right? Yeah.
And I understand that, like, lots of people behave completely normally.
Right.
But something about going back to work to finish a plea agreement.
Yeah.
And he didn't even finish the plea agreement. He didn't send it in.
Oh.
So it's not like you're thinking, well, he had to finish up that plea agreement and he knew it.
Yeah.
So he got that finished up to just tie up loose ends. He didn't.
Oh.
Like the next day they go to court and
he's not there.
He's not there, and the plea agreement was never sent in. So somebody had to go to his office and find it.
Oh my gosh.
And like one of the other attorneys had to sort of
piece it together.
Yeah. They were like, can the court just give us a little bit of time to like finish this up so that we can get this done today? So like it's not even that.
Yeah. Huh.
So already there's just weirdness, right?
Okay.
Okay. So at 11:38 p.m., so he was there late at night working, he got into his silver Honda Civic and left the Baltimore courthouse and went northeast on I-95. He used his Easy Pass on I-95 into Delaware, but not on the New Jersey and Pennsylvania turnpikes. After 3 toll interchanges, he switched to buying toll tickets. So that's weird, but we'll talk about that again in a little bit.
Okay.
At 12:57 a.m., so now we're into December 4th, $200 was withdrawn from Jonathan's bank account from the ATM at the JFK Plaza Service Center near Newark, Delaware. At 2:47 a.m., he crossed the Delaware River Toll Bridge to the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And at 3:20 a.m., his debit card was used to buy gas at the Sunoco, King of Prussia Service Plaza. At 4:04 a.m., Jonathan's car exited the turnpike at the Reading-Lancaster interchange, and the toll ticket there had his blood on it, which suggests that he was already injured at that point.
Okay.
His car was parked at the back of the Cincinnati, I don't know, and Weaver Well Drilling Company in Denver, Pennsylvania, before it was later driven into the creek. So this whole thing took like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which it was a 95-mile distance from the Baltimore courthouse to where he ended up. So shouldn't have taken 4 hours.
No.
But it did. It's a whole other weirdness.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, the first employee of this drilling company arrived, and 30 minutes later, someone noticed Jonathan's car in the creek.
Okay.
Its lights were off. Its front end was in the stream. There was blood on the driver's door and the front left of the car. Jonathan Luna was face down in the creek under the car's engine, and he was wearing a suit and a black overcoat. His court ID was around his neck. There was a pool of blood on the rear seat floor. Now, I read somewhere that this, like, seeped through from the back to the front, so I'm not sure about that. Cash was strewn about the inside of the car, and one article said it was about $200 in cash, which is also what was taken out of the ATM.
Yeah.
So why was it taken out of the ATM just to be left in the car?
Yeah.
I don't know. As I told you, he had been stabbed 36 times with his own pocket knife.
Okay.
Those stab wounds were to his chest and his neck.
Oh my gosh.
And he had a head injury that they think would probably happened when he fell into the creek.
Okay.
Despite the stab wounds,
maybe hit his head on the steering wheel.
The official cause of death was drowning.
Huh.
So he must have lost consciousness when he fell.
Yeah.
So now that you have all the details, you can see why they decided it was a suicide.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nothing suspicious here.
No. I mean, this is the FBI that we're talking about.
Right. Everything's fine.
They're like, he was alone from the time he left his office until his body was found, and there's no suspects and no motive, so...
Must be him. So there's no video footage of when he's going through those tolls?
Mm-hmm. There's no video footage, period.
So when he switched over to doing tickets, maybe whoever could have been in the car with him didn't realize he had an easy pass and just went
That's one of the things that leans toward homicide, right? Is that there was another person involved who didn't know he had an easy pass.
Yeah.
So maybe he started out on the drive alone.
Right.
And then somewhere got intercepted.
Uh-huh.
But why was he going that way, period?
Right.
We'll get into all that,
Did he have a weird meeting that no one knew about?
I don't know.
I don't.
So, FBI says suicide.
Mm-hmm.
The local authorities in Lancaster, including 2 successive coroners. By the way, I say Lancaster because I grew up in Lancaster, Kentucky, and that's how we say it.
Right.
They might say Lancaster. They're wrong.
There is no other way to say that.
It just occurred to me. I bet you they say Lancaster.
No.
I'll never say it any other way. It's Lancaster. Get over it.
Lancaster.
Okay, so local authorities in Lancaster, including 2 successive coroners, were like, this is a homicide. Yeah, this is not a suicide.
Guys, what are y'all talking about here? Yeah.
They found some additional evidence, a second blood type,
and
a partial print. And
the FBI was still like, no, he did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Overall, the results of the investigation were inconclusive.
Oh.
There's a federal reward of $100,000 for information leading to a conviction.
Wow.
And this is still unclaimed.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, since investigators...
And this was 2003.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
It's been 20 years.
20 years.
Since investigators can't even completely agree on what happened here, let's discuss the possibilities.
Yeah, let's do.
So first up, suicide.
Right. The only possibility. What?
The thing is, we're just going to go through all of them. I can get on one of these and think, this is absurd, and then I'll talk myself into maybe it's not. And then I'll go to the next one and be like, maybe this one. Nope.
Oh my
None of them work.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, suicide. There are some reasons to go with suicide, even though on the surface it seems ridiculous to me. Apparently, according to rumors, Jonathan had some secrets.
Okay.
I don't know how factual any of this is.
Mm-hmm.
But these secrets could have been motives for suicide. He was going to have to take a polygraph test in regard to $36,000 that had gone missing from a bank robbery case that he had prosecuted. And I'm going to talk about that more in a few minutes. On top of that, he had a credit card that his wife didn't know about. His name was on an internet dating site, and I want to clarify what I just said. His name is on an internet dating site.
So nobody said that they were chatting with him on there.
Well, and it's also it doesn't even mean it's him.
Right.
It's just his name. Even when I'm Googling this case, there's another Jonathan Luna who's like a pedophile in another state. So
that could be it could be anybody.
It doesn't even mean it's this guy.
Right.
So I don't really care, but it was listed as a possibility, so I'm just telling you about it.
Yeah.
He had $25,000 in credit card debt. It was also initially reported that he didn't have any substantial defense wounds. And that many of the stab wounds that he had were shallow, which are called hesitation wounds. So they're saying sometimes if someone is going to die by suicide, they will sort of, have smaller wounds before the big one. So there's that. There are some people who actually knew Jonathan who don't think this makes any sense.
Okay.
This guy, Rob Ruland, who worked with him in Brooklyn, said John was not a sex maniac. He was not a thief. He was not somebody who cheated on his wife. Jonathan was a person absolutely without vice, if that's possible. It's the oldest trick in the book. It's blaming the victim, and you have to wonder why that's being done in this case.
Huh.
which is it's a very interesting thing to say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that missing money thing, because it's controversial, and I feel like bringing it up makes Jonathan look bad, but it's not as cut and dry as it sounds. Okay. I read a whole article about that case, and I'm going to try to make it as brief as I can.
Okay.
There was this case in September of 2002. A Baltimore man was accused. He was being tried for a string of bank robberies, and Jonathan and his co-prosecutor had key evidence and witness testimony that put that guy away for 25 years.
Okay.
Now, part of the evidence was thousands of dollars that had been found in a safe in the apartment of the guy's accomplice. It was packaged in 3 heat-sealed see-through plastic containers. One container had $1 bills, one container had $5 bills, and one container had 10s and 20s.
Okay.
In the article about this, the defendant's attorney was like, when I saw the FBI agent with a cart of money rolling down the hall of the federal courthouse, I was stunned because it was so unusual to bring cash into the courtroom. So they wheeled it in to the court. And that does seem odd. I don't know why you needed to bring it in and show
people money. Yeah.
But that's just what they did.
Okay.
After the jury found the defendant guilty, one of the containers of money, the one with the 10s and 20s, disappeared.
Oh.
It had about $36,000 in it.
Okay.
So it's unusual that the money was brought into the courtroom at all.
Yeah. And then it's gone.
Now you've got $36,000 in cash missing from a federal courtroom.
Yeah.
So there's a federal investigation. Lie detector tests were administered to at least 5 government employees, but they never found the money. To this day, the money has never turned up, which fascinates me.
Yeah, that's wild.
Whoever it was got away with it.
Yeah. What on earth?
So then there are all these rumors that Jonathan had substantial credit card debt, which made people talk about how he could have had something to do with the missing cash.
Okay.
He was the prosecuting attorney. The cash was his evidence. It happened under his watch. His supervisor was like, personally, I have a hard time thinking that he stole the money. And the supervisor also said that the money was left unattended at times, which is crazy.
Right.
You're just leaving thousands of dollars. Let's just walk away.
What?
So there were opportunities for so many people to take it.
Right. I mean, Joe Schmo could have taken it.
The whole thing about there were rumors that Jonathan had substantial credit card debt. It's like, for one.
But that's provable.
$25,000 in credit card debt is not nothing.
Right.
But it's also not insurmountable.
Right.
I've heard way worse.
Right. Yeah.
And so, is that so much credit card debt that you would commit a federal crime over as a federal prosecutor?
Right. Exactly.
Or die by suicide over?
I know.
I mean, is it even true?
Yeah.
Are people just whispering and
I know he had bills.
Yeah. Do you even know that, or did somebody just start making that up until they have a story to tell? This is where things get so dangerous when people just want to talk.
Exactly.
And I have no idea. Regardless of whether Jonathan took the money, this caused big problems for him at work. And there was already, he had this troubled relationship with his boss.
Okay.
The person who had originally hired him had left. Now, his first boss loved him. Loved him. But then the new boss come in, and they just didn't like him.
Oh.
And I read this long article about it, and the short version is they just didn't get along. It seemed like a personality conflict.
No.
There's no big reason that I could find. This just happens. I think it happens a lot when there's a new boss that comes in.
Exactly.
Sometimes they just want to clear house and bring in their own people.
And assert themselves. And
So now there's this, and the boss does have a reason.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So Jonathan has a lot of stress. His career is super important to him. He's worked really hard for it. And now he's scheduled to take this polygraph test. And some people think
he just couldn't handle
that all this pressure was just too much. The next theory.
Aliens.
Accidental suicide.
Oh.
This is wild.
Oh.
And initially, I'm just like, this is so dumb. And then I'm like, it's what happens every time.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Okay, this theory is that Jonathan may have been staging a kidnapping and attack.
Oh.
And went too far and accidentally killed himself.
Oh.
So all those hesitation wounds kind of lean to that too. But then his left carotid artery had also been nicked, causing him to bleed out in minutes.
Yeah.
I do think it's weird that if there was someone else there attacking him, was this a planned attack? Like, why didn't they bring their own weapon? Like, why was it his own pocket knife that was used?
Yeah.
But it's also
Did he pick up a hitchhiker and they decided to attack him?
Maybe. The smartest hitchhiker in the world who left no physical evidence behind?
Yeah.
And didn't rob him? Left the $200?
Yeah. I don't know.
Why? Why did they kill him?
Yeah.
Like, I can't figure it out. If I was going to plan my own death, it just seems like there are so many other more efficient, certain ways to do it. Even if you wanted to do it by stabbing, a pocket knife.
And make it seem like something. Yeah.
Is such a weird choice.
Yeah.
But you could also use that same argument for why it can't be a homicide. If you wanted to kill somebody, there are so much more efficient weapons to use.
Yeah.
And then the $200 in cash thing.
It's so strange.
Why was it taken out at all?
Right.
If it was a robbery, why was it left behind?
And why did he start purchasing the tickets instead of using his pass?
And then I think he's clearly a smart guy. Was he so smart that he did that on purpose? Where he's like, if I don't use my Easy Pass,
I want to make it look like somebody. Yeah.
But then he was dumb enough to cut his own carotid artery.
Yeah.
You know, like, is he really smart or not?
Yeah. Or was he panicking at that point?
I could easily throw out the accidental suicide theory if it wasn't for that $200 in cash being taken from the ATM. Because that feels like it could look like he was like setting up to look like he was being robbed.
Yeah.
And then if he did accidentally die.
But the bank had no cameras?
No camera footage has been released anywhere.
Huh?
I don't know that there was no camera footage.
Right.
I'm just telling you it's not been released.
It's not been released. Wow.
The last theory is homicide.
The
Lancaster County coroner who performed the autopsy ruled Jonathan's death a homicide by drowning.
Okay.
An official from the coroner's office spoke but wanted to remain anonymous and said they had found a fingernail wound that appeared to be defensive. He also said, you could argue that the wounds are in places that are self-inflicted technically, but they could also be inflicted by someone who wanted to make him suffer. And it looks like a homicide.
Okay.
Other things that point to homicide are Jonathan had left his glasses and his cell phone on his desk, and he needed his glasses to drive.
Oh.
That's weird.
Yeah.
He had called the defense attorneys in the case earlier in the night saying he would fax over the documents, that plea agreement, but he never did. Then there's that pool of blood in the floor of the back seat, which suggests that he could have been in the back seat and someone else was driving. This was described in one of the articles as an enormous amount of blood.
Oh.
There's also the weirdness about the Easy Pass.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if somebody else was driving.
Right.
As for motives for homicide, as an assistant U.S. attorney in Baltimore, Jonathan had prosecuted about 80 criminal cases and 6 civil cases. A lot of the cases he prosecuted involved drugs, but there were a few sexual predators too. Before that, he had been an assistant district attorney in Brooklyn, and there are a lot of people who may have wanted to get back at him. I mean, he dealt with a lot of dangerous people.
Yeah.
And he was in the middle of a big drug case.
He made a lot of people angry, yeah.
There's this one writer, Ethan Brown, and I think he made such a good point, because he's like, look, if we're going to entertain theories like he accidentally killed himself or he faked his own kidnapping, these are like these big outlandish kind of wild theories. Why are we dismissing the idea that it could have been any of these criminals he dealt with? Like,
exactly.
He thinks they just too quickly dismissed that idea completely. So a few years go by, and in February of 2007, Jonathan's family hired a PI and an attorney who filed a petition to force the Lancaster County coroner to conduct an inquest into Jonathan's death. An earlier request for this had already been declined. And then in February of 2020, the newspaper in Lancaster County requested that a judge unseal the coroner's records pertaining to Jonathan's death. But in January of 2021, the judge ruled that the records would remain sealed, writing that releasing the records would pose a threat of substantially hindering or jeopardizing the open, active, and ongoing criminal investigation into the death of Jonathan Luna. The one that you're saying is a suicide?
Yeah. What?
So they're making it sound like the case is still open.
Yeah.
But then nothing I read about the case made it sound like they're doing anything about it.
Yeah.
And years earlier, they said it had been closed.
Right.
And then
now you're saying
they kind of went back on that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's still open. It's not really closed.
Are you wanting it to stay open so nothing comes out?
Then they tried to say, like, well, it's administratively closed, which means it's like nobody's actively investigating it, but it's open in case something
Nobody
comes
can
along.
see the records.
Yeah, basically, that's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a PI on the case who's a former police detective, and he thinks there's more than what's...
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah. And, you had the guy earlier who I said was like, why are they blaming the victim? You have to wonder what that's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And this PI, his name's William Buckingham, and he's like, you have a cover-up, which is what I think this is, both by the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police. Like, he just...
Oh, my gosh.
Which is really interesting. He
Not
just
even
thinks it's
allegedly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just quoting
He's like,
this
I'm
guy.
calling y'all out over here is what he's saying.
He thinks it's weird that they won't release the coroner's records. Like, even to Jonathan's family, they won't.
Wow. That's crazy.
Here's the other thing, which you keep bringing up the video. And I hadn't even thought about the ATM thing, but this I do think is interesting. No video showing Luna leaving the courthouse has ever been released by authorities.
And they have videos in there.
It's a federal courthouse.
Or cameras in there, yeah.
The courthouse is and was at the time covered with video cameras inside and out in every hallway. U.S. Marshal Service security officers monitor the video on banks of screens at the front desk in the lobby of the courthouse, and any video is presumably recorded. The Justice Department has never released a single frame of video of Luna leaving the courthouse. Does that mean it doesn't exist?
Or it's just not public.
And then this next part, I'm just quoting directly from the article. Some students of the case suggest that Luna was, quote, marched out of the courthouse by someone with a badge and a gun. And that explains the things he left behind. But that would mean the courthouse video cameras were either disabled, weren't working, or the FBI knows who did this and has been lying about it for 15 years. This seems to be the ultimate conspiracy theory involving the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and who knows who else.
I love a good conspiracy theory.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that we all love a good conspiracy theory, so it makes you want to be like,
that's it.
Something crazy
That's
happened.
It. Mm-hmm.
When it could also not be.
But also,
right.
Yeah.
That's
like
what makes this wild.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
What
I could easily believe any one of these.
That is so wild.
And, somebody else involved in the case was like, he drove an awful long way to kill himself.
For
that's
4
what
hours.
He was doing. Like, why would he do that?
But you would think that if he was in the process of stabbing himself while he was driving, because there's blood on the papers, right? I mean, unless he stabbed himself after he parked at the creek or wherever it was and stabbed himself and grabbed
blood
papers.
On that toll ticket.
Right. See, so if he was driving and stabbing himself, wouldn't he be driving erratically? Because you'd be like, oh my God, that hurt. Oh my gosh, this hurts.
And why would you be driving and stabbing yourself?
Yeah, but you would think
why would you do it that way?
A police officer or a sheriff's officer, wherever county he was in, would pull him over if he was driving all crazy, if he's stabbing himself or whatever. Like, not that they would see him stabbing himself, but you would be in pain. You would be,
you think you would just
road. So what?
The attack would happen in a place.
Yeah.
Instead of like, why is the journey continuing?
Yeah.
I want to close this out with some kind words about Jonathan because I feel like the narrative about him is all over the place and I don't know why. And it's like, if there is some kind of cover up, then there is also a motive to make him look bad.
Right.
And that may not be fair.
Yeah.
That could just be part of the cover up.
Yeah.
There also may be no cover up. I have no idea.
Right. Who knows where any of this is going?
All of our episodes are, what do we say?
We find there's the words of the, I don't know what we say, but these are the words that are publicly known or the public knowledge.
It's our thoughts and opinions in response to the information that is publicly available at the time of recording. There you go.
Yeah. Don't come at us.
We don't know. Thomas D. Biagio, U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. Listen, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. He said about Jonathan, he served this office, he served the community and the interest of justice with great dedication and commitment. People who knew Jonathan had good things to say about him. Just to sort of run through some of the nice things I read, things that were said about him. He was an easygoing person, the kind of guy who could get along with anyone. He was compassionate, selfless, charming, charismatic, gentle. There was a story about how after he graduated college in North Carolina, he found out his dad had cancer. So he immediately dropped everything, put his life on hold just to go home and stay with his parents.
Yeah.
And he continued to take care of his parents. Even at the time of his death, he was caring for his parents as an adult. That was a big part of his life.
Oh.
So nothing about this story
screams
makes sense.
Yeah.
At all.
Huh.
Yeah.
What on earth?
I don't know.
I'd
love to hear what you all think. Because
please.
I do not know.
What is going on? I don't even know what to say. I just want to know, where's all the camera footage?
I do.
You know there's cameras at the
ATM.
booth?
At the ATM for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
Was it him?
Well, and in the building. Unless he ran down to the parking garage to get something and didn't take that stuff with him, and somebody hijacked him in there and said, you're going to drive in this direction and this is what we're doing. I don't know.
I don't either.
Huh.
I hate it.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah. He seems like a decent person.
Yeah.
You know?
That's gross.
And it's just really hard to say, what in the world happened here?
Yeah. But it's so easy to believe the conspiracy theories and all that stuff because you don't know. There's not any evidence out there. What?
And if it is something, if he was involved in a drug case and an FBI informant was involved, or an FBI informant somehow killed him or whatever, then that would be covered up.
Right, exactly.
Because the informant's more important. Is that going to lead to a bigger case? So we got to protect the informant, even if it means Jonathan's case is never solved and it's never brought to justice. And that's horrible.
So sad. Yeah.
And his wife doesn't speak publicly about this case, which is also just...
Yeah, I'm sure she was put through it when the stuff about the credit cards came public. And what if, if it's not true, she's just been ran through the mud.
Right, because that all could have been part of
And I'm sure her career and stuff struggled a little bit because of all of it.
Well, just the stress of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But even all those rumors could be unfounded. It's just stuff people say if they were trying to make him look bad as part of the cover-up.
Yeah.
If there's a cover-up.
Right.
Yep.
Jeez.
I know.
Huh.
So it's a mystery, I suppose, is how we're going to classify this one.
Yeah. Murder? Question mark?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, so that's the story this week.
Okay, well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Now my brain won't stop thinking about this.
I know. Same.
Wow.
Ever since I started working on it, I was like, what? And when I first started reading it, and I was like, suicide. And then it all went from there.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
jeez.
Thank you all for listening. Okay, we love you
so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.